Okay, part 2 of the all skills tutorial. Last time we went over everything up until VS, and this time is going to be up through Mothwing Cloak. So let's hop in. Yeah, so where we ended off last time was entering Ancestral Mound and then hopping over to this guy and grabbing VS. So what this does, which is semi-relevant, is it fills up your soul, no matter how much you have. So if you needed to heal during the False Knight fight, it's not a big deal, because you're going to get full soul here. And we're going to use it almost immediately. So as you wake up, you're going to want to jump and hit this plank above you. Doing that will make your exit faster later. Then for the horizontal planks, it's the same rule as King's Pass, to just upslash as you go by. For horizontal planks like this, you just want to hit them while moving at all times. Try not to slow down too much. And then once we reach here, we want to try to break these planks over here. There's 2 of them with 1 nail swing. And this thing's following me, isn't it? Okay. There's 2 ways people do this. They either fall down and jump onto it, or they pogo off of this boulder and then go down. You need to have some downwards momentum, otherwise it won't work. So that should look like this. So that was both in 1 swing. From there, continue. You upslash this boulder here so that you don't jump into spikes or it doesn't hit you into spikes. And then we're going to use this Vengeful over here to do something just like King's Pass, where we boost up to this higher platform. From there, continue along until you reach the ancient boulder down here. So it takes 4 fireballs to kill the ancient boulder, and we have 3 fireballs worth here. So what you're going to do is you're going to drop down, shoot 2, and then give it time to ideally immediately shoot one of the smaller boulders, which you then kill and shoot your remaining 2 fireballs. So I got first spit, which is ideal RNG. And then pick up most of the geo and make your way out of Mound. If you took a lot of damage in Mound, you can bench here. However, you don't need to bench if you didn't take any damage, because it auto-benches you here after you pick up VS. So we're going to save quit here later, but if you didn't take any damage, you don't have to use the bench. So from here, you can do a little inventory drop, and then come down here to hit the lever. My visual cue to know how early I can swing to hit the lever is just the edge of this destructible object, but it's not a big deal. From here, my visual cue on when to jump over is the edge of this paper. That'll land you, yeah, I jumped a little too early. That'll land you right here, which will then let you start jumping up immediately. If you land down here, you can't actually reach up to the platform. All right, in this next room, we need to get 6 hits of soul, and I'll explain why we need that in the following room. There are 2 enemies that are consistently in your way that you can farm for soul, and then you either need to get the last 2 from another enemy that's static but is a little out of the way, or from Gruzzers flying around the room. But those are purely RNG, so sometimes they won't be there for you. So that should look like this. So I got a nice Gruzzer here. This tick-tick is always here for you. Oh wow, these Gruzzers are nice. And this tick-tick is always here for you. So I just got 6, which is all I need. If I got here and I only got 4 hits from those 2 tick-ticks, you jump up and hit this tick-tick up here twice for your last 2 hits. Then you continue on into the entrance to Greenpath. So here we have another boulder. This one, however, we're going to kill with 1 fireball because of an instant kill glitch. once you walk up to this first post, it's going to wake up. And then as soon as you do that, you need to walk back past the right lip of this edge and then shoot a fireball to your left. If you wait over there, you will hear the fireball hitting the boulder 4 times, which is obviously enough hits to kill it. So listen for those 4 hits and you'll know you've done it properly. So I'm going to wake it up, walk over here, shoot a fireball, and you can see from the geo that it just died. Then jump your way up here, and here is the first instance of a fireball skip. Basically, we can't make it across this ledge with a normal jump. It doesn't quite go far enough. So in order to make it across, this first one is just a little time safe, but more important ones will come later in this area. So in order to do this skip, we're going to jump, and then close to the end, we're going to stall our momentum by shooting a fireball to the right. It'll also give us a little push to the left so that we can then reach this ledge here. So that should look like this. Just like that. The most important things for this are jumping as late as possible and then shooting your fireball at the right time with like no delay in between. In your arc, you want to shoot it about here. So just as you begin to fall from the apex of your jump. The turnaround fireball timing and like being quick about it without holding right for too long is a little bit tough, and it'll just take some practice. So really practice getting that crisp turnaround fireball, and you should be able to hit that every time. From here, we make our way into Greenpath finally. And in this room, we want to get at least 5 or 6 hits. But I typically go for at least 5. And there's 3 enemies to get them on. There's this one. You can do like 1, 2. If this one is close like this, you just have to do a jump pogo off it like I did. Sometimes it can spawn over here, so you could go for 2 hits. But if it rolls off, there's not much you can do other than get the 1 hit. So in this case, I will get my last 2 hits on this enemy here. You can choose how you get your soul from those enemies. There's not like one set way that's faster than any of the others. Now we want to get the rest of our soul in this next room from these birds. There's 2 birds up ahead that are static and you can always hit. These birds, in order to catch them before they fly away, you need to walk up here, jump on this platform, and then jump down on them. That way you can catch them before they fly away because they don't notice you. So as you can see now, I hit 2 of them, so I have 7 hits of soul. And then I can kill these last 2 to get full soul. And this is important, especially if you're starting out for this next room. This next room is the biggest fireball skip in the area. We basically want to boost ourselves up to where Hornet just was. And in order to do so, we're going to need 2 fireballs. There's also a beginner-friendly backup if you mess it up. Oh, and I forgot to mention earlier, if you mess up the first fireball skip, you can just go around the like normal way, and you're losing maybe like 3 seconds. It's not a huge deal. But this one I'll talk more in depth about the backup using that mosquito down there. So this skip, once again, you're going to try to jump as late as possible. Oops. And then you need to get 2 turnaround fireballs. So just like that. Of the 3 fireball skips, this one is actually luckily the most lenient. So even if you don't jump like completely at the end, so if I jump a little bit early, I can still make it, as you can see. But the important thing here is to jump pretty late, so like probably around here or later. And then you need to get this turnaround really crisp, because if you hold right for too long, you won't get enough horizontal distance. And also, if there's any delay between your two fireballs, oops, I didn't even turn around that time. If there's any delay, you'll lose too much height and you won't be able to make it either. The best way to practice this is to either hop into one of the hot springs like the one in Crossroads, or if you have debug mod, you can go to cheats and turn on infinite soul. From here, you want to just practice keeping yourself in the air without losing any height with your fireballs. So if you can practice that timing and get it down, then you should become a little more consistent with this trick. After that, it's just combining the fireballs that are close together with a good turnaround and a late jump. So just like that. This also will just take some practice, but that's the fireball skip. The main things, I hadn't mentioned it yet, but make sure you're using the quick cast button as opposed to the focus button, because the focus button releases a spell on release of the button rather on press of the button. So it'll be very difficult for you to actually get your fireballs quickly together. Now for the backup. If you go for the fireball skip and miss it, then you can hop down here and get the attention of the mosquito. After that, you want to get out of its way so it doesn't charge at you down there, and you want to make your way up to this platform as quickly as possible. Once you're here, you can do some little hops to bait the mosquito into diving at you so that it lands right under the platform. Once it's started its dive, you can hop up here and then you're just going to pogo it up there. So that looks like this. Oops. It's very lenient, as you can see. I got hit because I paused, but even then I could just run over and pogo off of it. Yeah, so that's the backup. I'm going to kill it, and generally at this spot I would have 3 hits of soul left, so I'll get rid of some of it. And we'll move on. This room is another soul collecting room. We want to get up to 6 hits of soul. So if you're at 3, you need 3 more. There's like... I'm basically just going to go over the harder strat for this room and just mention the easier strat. But as you walk through, you're typically going to want to hit that guy once, and he's going to charge and you'll ignore him. And then you'll move over here. There's a moss charger on this ground, and you can actually kill moss chargers in one cycle if you hit them at the proper distance and then do 2 up slashes as you walk with them, because it won't push you away from them. And then the final slash, you can either do another side slash or an up slash, and it'll die. So that's an easy way to get the hits of soul you need. So I'll try to demonstrate that here. If you do miss it, you can just forward slash it off the platform like I did there. I will go through this room one more time, just trying to demonstrate that properly. Also, my soul is broken. I only have 3 hits here, but debug mod is bugged. Alright. Moss Charger was a little bit further back than I expected. Let's try that one more time. So 1 hit on this one, continue through, and then 1, 2, 3, just like that. The beginner strat is you get that 1 hit on the first one, and then you go the upper route, and you hit this mosquito twice, the one that's currently charging at me. So, yeah, that's just right here. You go up instead. And then there's a mosquito right here that you can pogo and then hit again. And you should have 6 hits of soul. Like so. Also, at this point, ideally you want around 100 geo, ideally. Now we're going to come up to our final fireball skip. And this one is, I'd say, probably the tightest of the three. And it's mainly because you need to jump at the very edge of the platform. Because if you jump too early, you bonk your head on this platform. So in order to avoid that, you need to jump at the very edge like that. Luckily, there are coyote frames, which is extra frames as you walk off a platform that you have to jump, that make this a little bit easier. But once again, it's just like the second fireball skip in that you need to do a late jump, very late in this case, and then do a turnaround and 2 fireballs. Oops. If you do mess up like that, you can get some more soul from this soul totem and the moss creep that spawns here. And then that's the fireball skip. I will show it a couple more times. So as you can see, every time the jump needs to be super late. And then a pretty tight turnaround with 2 fireballs. And then at this point, you probably won't have any soul left over. After that, you make your way here. So these enemies can spawn most anywhere along this platform. And the spot they are right now is a little problematic because if we look at the hitboxes, we can see that right here there's this little box in the leaves above. And so if you try to jump and pogo over them, you'll get caught on that box and then you'll fall and damage tank into them. So if they're in this area, I typically just kill them. If they're over here, you can jump and pogo over them. If they're further back, you can jump and pogo over them. Here, generally, you want to kill them, though. It's not a major time loss, and you need to be collecting soul in the next room anyways, so I would definitely kill them if they're under this region here. Alright, let's continue onwards. So generally here you'll have like 2 to 3 hits of soul. In this next room, we want to get up to 8 hits of soul. So I'm going to go through the room once and show the points where you can hit the enemies. There's one immediately as you go down, this one. This one you can hit either once or twice, depending on where he is. Oh god. You're not supposed to fall there. You can hit this guy through the floor if it's convenient. And then these guys at the top, if you're really lacking in soul, you can just go ahead and kill them. But by the end of it, you should be at 8 or 9 hits of soul. The reason for that being... Actually, I'm going to make a save state here. In this next room is the Moss Knight. There's only one strategy that's slightly harder that you can do, and it'll save you time in the next room, but I'm going to start with the beginner strategy, which is just, you wake up the Moss Knight. It takes one nail hit and 3 fireball hits in order to kill this Moss Knight. So as it wakes up, we're going to hit it once before it has a chance to put up its shield. After that, since we have our full soul, we can just shoot our 3 fireballs and it dies immediately. Just like that. The slightly harder strat goes like this. So I still have the full soul, despite what the UI looks like. And the way this strat works is we're going to try to get the Moss Knight to dash back in order to get a double hit fireball on it. That'll, after we shoot our second fireball, it'll die. So we'll have 3 soul left over, which is helpful because we're going to collect soul in the next room. And if we have 0, then we have to slow down a little bit. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to / the Moss Knight, or /, but typically it's / so that you stay close to the Moss Knight. And then you jump to around head level and shoot your fireball. The jump itself is what baits the Moss Knight to do a backdash. And if we do it properly, it should double hit. So let's try that. Alright. So if you fail it, you can just shoot your 3 fireballs like normal there. However, I'm going to try again to demonstrate this strat. It's a little inconsistent because sometimes the Moss Knight just doesn't dash back, but let's give it another go. Alright. It's not being friendly. Let's try one more time. There we go. So, it appears I was jumping a little bit late after my up slash. So up slash, and then pretty quickly after you need to jump to head level, and then shoot your fireball. And then you should get that double hit, and then you can kill it with one more fireball. But I'm going to assume that the beginner strategy was used and get rid of this extra soul I have. For this next room, we once again want to get up to 8. And you can kind of pick and choose which enemies you want to get that from. Typically, the way I do it is I hit these, get 3 hits from those 2, 3 hits from those 2, and then 1 from here, and 1 from this last Vengeful. So typically you have 8 when leaving here, but I just wanted to get that one out of the way. In this next room, we're going to do some geo farming. There's 2 Moss Knights and 3 Geo Rocks, which is why once again we need those hits of soul. As we enter this next room, so there's one Moss Knight that's in its, like, I don't know, sleeping form, and then there's one Moss Knight that's already patrolling. It can either spawn walking to the left and be over here, or it can spawn walking to the right, which it has this time, so it's far away. Now we need our fireballs to hit both of them for efficiency's sake. So if you get this spawn, there's a couple things you can do. One, you can do this. You can look down and wait till you see that Moss Knight before you go. Or alternatively, you can go down and start breaking the Geo Rocks. This is a little risky, however, because this Moss Knight will wake up and you'll just have to dodge out of the way while you wait for the other one to come over. So I'm going to show that strat because I believe it's a little bit faster than just waiting. And then I will show this room again with good RNG. So you can start hitting these Geo Rocks and avoid this Moss Knight. So I got the 1 hit on this Moss Knight and then shot 3 fireballs, and they all hit this second Moss Knight as well. And in the meantime also broke this last Geo Rock, which is very convenient. So you want to make sure to pick up most of this Geo, and now this Moss Knight is still alive, because it needs to be hit with 1 nail hit. And there's a specific way to do this that avoids all, like, RNG with the Moss Knight. And the way to do that is to jump and do a down slash right in front of it. That just beats its shield and kills it. In total, these Geo Rocks on the Moss Knights are 170 Geo, and after picking everything up, you should have a little over 300 Geo. So if you have bad RNG, that's what you'll have to do. Let's see if I can get good RNG. Not this time, alright, let's reset. Nice, okay. So you get 1 hit as this one wakes up, and then shoot your fireballs. Then you'll have to break these rocks because you didn't get the chance to do before. And then once again do that jump down slash strat, and then continue along your way. After that, you'll have 1 hit of soul. And then once again, if you'd like to, you can do that Moss Charger strat because there's one on the ground ahead of us. Or you can simply jump over it, whichever you're more comfortable with. So there's the Moss Charger strat once again. But I'm going to enter the Hornet fight with 0 soul, just to show that. So there's one main strat for the Hornet fight, and that's attempting to keep her in a bit of a stun lock in the corner. I will try to demonstrate that and like pause to explain things while in the fight. So first, you're going to mash through the dialogue, and then she's going to dash back, and you can start hitting her as soon as you get close. It'll take 6 hits to stagger her on her first stagger. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the first stagger. And we staggered her in the corner, which is perfect. So from here, we want to try to keep her in the corner. So in order to do that, we're going to keep side slashing her even when she jumps, and then stun her with a fireball for our 5th hit. Once again, it's 6 hits to stagger on the first stagger, and then 5 hits from then forward. So generally, when she's like this, you're going to hit her, and when you hit her out of a stagger, she instantly jumps, no matter what. But if you side slash her, if she doesn't jump outwards very far, it'll keep her in this general region. Just like that. So that was 4 nail hits and then a fireball to keep her in the corner. And then it's just rinse and repeat. If she does do a long jump arc over you, you can somewhat attempt to follow her with some nail hits, but you'll have to react to her doing that. If she gives me that RNG, I can try to show it now. So it looks vaguely like that. I tried to show it off even though she didn't give me the RNG I wanted to show off. But for the most part, that's how the fight looks. You want to keep her staggered in the corner as much as possible. I'm going to show this fight a couple times. So if she staggers in the middle, you can just do something like that. Okay, that was a lucky double. That doesn't usually happen. But yeah, essentially, if she tries to jump over you, you just follow her with up slashes. One thing to note about the needle throw attack, which you could kind of see there, is 2 things. One, it resets her stagger counter, so you will have to get rid of the number of hits you're keeping track of and start over. Secondly, you can jump and do fireballs as the needle's going out and then coming back in, which is just a ton of extra damage. I'm going to show this fight a couple times, a couple more times rather, and then that's the split, because right here is our Mothwing Cloak. So this first stagger is always the most important. Basically just nail and fireball until you can get her here. And then it's just side slashes to keep her in the corner. Okay, so there was the RNG, where she jumps over you. And as you could see, if you rewind the video a little bit, you can see I did the 2 side slashes like normal, and then I did an up slash as she went over my head. Then finally, when she landed, I could then stun her again. And here's the needle throw attack again. This fight will also just like, you'll have to get a little bit of a feel for it, just from practice, as you will for like any trick and any boss fight. I'm going to do this one more time, and then we will pick up our dash ability. So there she was about to stagger, and she did a needle throw attack, which reset it, which was actually pretty inconvenient. Okay, that fight was a little strange, so I'm going to do one more, just as another example. I want to try and get as many example fights in as possible. So there was the jumping over RNG, there again. And then here's the corner lock. Just like that. So that was a pretty good fight, just keeping her stun locked as much as possible. From here, you will pick up your dash. The Mothwing Cloak pop up, you'll just mash through it. And then finally, we are going to save quit back to Ancestral Mound. That'll be this video. Next video will be Mantis Claw and Shaman Stone.